Beauty and the Beast is the first animation-made Oscar history. Behind this wonderful animation is another fascinating story. Following the widespread critical and commercial success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt Disney tried to create Beauty and the Beast back in the 50s. They kicked around the story but couldn't make it work, so they shelved it, and it remained in the studio attic for a long time. However, The Little Mermaid changed everything. The Disney people looked at that and said, "Why aren't we doing more of that?" Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, who had written the song score for The Little Mermaid, turned Beauty and the Beast into a Broadway-style musical film in the same vein. Since the original story had only two major characters, the filmmakers had to find a way to enhance them, adding new characters for more character development. They made Belle a little eccentric, interested in stories and adventure. They used color to visually set Belle apart from the rest of the village by making her the only one dressed in blue. As the frenzy of townspeople calls back and forth about bacon, cheese, and bread, she certainly stands out. About the Beast, they wondered a lot about whether to make him a villain or hero. They remembered that the name of the movie is Beauty and the Beast, so they made him both. They also added new characters in the form of enchanted household items, individuals with their own personalities who add warmth and comedy to a gloomy story and guide the audience through the film. What a story needs now is a real villain, so we got Gaston. The Beast is ugly outside with the heart of gold, and Gaston is handsome but has the heart of a pig. He is willing to kill the Beast, not because he thinks that he's a monster, but because he is in his way. Now they need to make the characters come to life. They don't want to make Belle the most beautiful character ever. They want her to have heart and soul in her eyes. The Beast has to have sorrowful eyes and expressions that show he is starting to fall in love. But the hardest part is creating motion for characters like a candlestick. The solution was to focus on an impression of body movement. For example, Lumiere kicks without having feet. Another way to make the objects come to life was through personality. Why did Cogsworth become a clock? The animators thought it was because Cogsworth craves order and promptness. Mrs. Potts is virtually nothing more than a head, so her performance was a complete triumph of facial animation. At one point, Mrs. Potts had to jump from the fireplace to the floor. Logic dictates that she would break, so the scene designers simply drew a pillow into the scene. Problem solved. The final scenes were rushed to meet the release deadline, and some of the later animation doesn't look so great. They had to borrow some frames from Sleeping Beauty, but how can we talk about a musical without music? Howard Ashman and Alan Menken had done The Little Mermaid, and Disney asked if they'd like to do Beauty and the Beast. It was as simple as that. But what they didn't know when they started was that this would be the last project Howard Ashman was ever going to work on. By a certain point, he wasn't well enough to travel. Once Disney knew, they brought a lot of the production over to the East Coast. He made it through all the last recording session. Next came all the scoring sessions and pre-production for the animation, but by then, he was gone. He never saw the finished film. A tribute to the lyricist was included at the end of the credits crawl. To our friend Howard, who gave a mermaid her voice and a beast his soul, we will be forever grateful. Beauty and the Beast premiered on November 13th, 1991, to overwhelming critical praise and box office success. Beauty and the Beast brought Walt Disney feature animation back as a vital and credible art form. Just when things couldn't get any better for Beauty and the Beast, they did. The film won 3 Golden Globe Awards, and even more historic, an honor was near. Beauty and the Beast also became the first animated feature to ever be nominated for a Best Picture Academy Award, an honor that even Walt Disney himself never received.